Today I'm going to be telling you my 5 most anticipated running shoes of 2021. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, a vegan triathlete, and on this channel we talk all things triathlon and running shoes. And if you haven't already considered subscribing, please do, as I produce regular running shoe reviews and hype videos just like this one. So today we'll be talking about running shoes that are going to be coming out this year in 2021, and these are the ones that I'm most excited for. They might not be the best running shoe from each company or the ones that I'm most likely to buy. These are the ones that I'm just excited to see how they shape up and whether or not they'll be successes. Not all companies have actually announced the shoes that will be coming out this year, so I focused mainly on the shoes that have been announced. However, there are a couple in there that haven't quite been announced but are rumoured to be very likely. And there might be a second part to this video later in the year for some of those shoes that get announced that are coming out towards the end of 2021. The first shoe on this list is the Nike Infinity Run Flyknit 2. Now, I own a pair of the Flyknit 1, the first shoe in this lineup with the Flyknit, and I absolutely love this shoe. I did a review about it, which you can read about just up in one of these corners. But to summarise that for you, I really thought this was an excellent shoe for those easy days. I've had it for only a few weeks now, and I've done over 200 kilometres, and they're the shoe that I keep coming back to from my rotation for those easy days where your legs are aching a little bit and you want something that's just gonna make it nice and easy to go through and get a few extra miles in. That shoe is the one that I go to every single time, so I can highly recommend that one if you're looking for something which is specifically designed for recovery and easy runs. It's comfortable and it seems to be really durable from my testing, both in the midsole foam, which hasn't lost any of its spring so far, or the outsole has absolutely no wear on it from my current use. My biggest problem with the first shoe was the lack of a proper heel counter and the problems with lockdown. It just didn't feel quite right putting on this shoe. It never fit perfectly, although it was generally good enough for those easy miles. Although I haven't seen any other shoe reviewers have their hands on this shoe yet, it does seem like Nike has targeted a lot of the areas that we were all complaining about with the first shoe. And hopefully with these small adjustments, it will become a perfect score on my rating chart. It looks to have a slightly more plush upper and some extra padding around the heel to add a greater lockdown and a slightly more traditional fit while keeping that Flyknit material, which I know I'm a fan of and I think a lot of other people are. So hopefully it'll give us just those little fixes that we've been looking for to really enable this shoe to become a staple in a lot of people's running shoe rotations. The marketing material also shows some fly wires being added instead of the small plastic pits for the laces to go through. So hopefully this will just tug all of that material inwards a little bit more, making the lockdown significantly better in this shoe. I'm really eager to get my hands on this shoe, specifically on this list, and put some big miles into it and see if it can live up to the hype and the expectations I have after giving a really positive review of the first shoe. The second shoe on this list is another Nike, and it's another second version of a shoe. The rumoured Nike Zoom Vaporfly Next Percent 2 is coming out this year in 2021, and this has been one of my favourite carbon plate racing shoes. It's the classic who really ushered in the age after the 4%, the bringing these carbon plated racing shoes into most people's running rotations if they're aiming to perform well and do a lot of races. Having tried both the Vaporfly and the Tempo Next Percent, neither of those shoes quite felt right to me. I don't think I'm a fan of the AirPods with the Zoom X foam. It just, something doesn't feel quite right to me. So having a newer shoe with just the carbon plate and the Zoom foam will hopefully provide that slightly more traditional shoe feel, along with a really nice absorbent foam and that very, very, very useful carbon plate. And the current rumours are that we'll be keeping the outsole and the midsole the same from the original Next Percent, which is great for me because I think that was a brilliant combo. All the changes seem to be in the upper. The rumours are that we're having a slightly more padded tongue, some softer and more breathable upper material, slightly different to what we've experienced from the Flyknit, but they're not going towards the Vaporweave. And also some improved durability in the upper with a small piece of reinforcement around the toe box area, which could lead to this shoe being more durable, which would be great for us who don't want to be regularly dropping £240 for a new pair of racing shoes. And the last part of this rumour is a really nice white and red colourway, which I think just gives me some retro classic kind of vibes. And if that does come true, then I think that's the colour that I'll be trying to pick up this shoe in. The third shoe on this list is a real fan favourite. That's the New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V11. The V10 of this shoe has been in countless best running shoe lists, and it's a great all-round running shoe. The midsole of Fresh Foam is an absolute fan favourite. Very few people have anything bad to say about the feel of that midsole. And the crazy upper colourways means that there's something for everyone. So it feels like no one's got a bad thing to say about this shoe in general, which begs the question, why would you be excited to upgrade to the V11? Well, for me, the exciting part comes because I want to see if they can make this shoe better. And it also makes me a little bit nervous because I don't want them to mess up what's an easy fan favourite shoe. Now, thankfully, for everyone who likes the Fresh Foam midsole, it seems that will be exactly the same as the V10, so we can all breathe a sigh of relief in that area. New Balance have said the only changes to this shoe will be in the upper. However, even looking at the photos of the new shoe and comparing it to the V10, I can barely notice any differences. So maybe there's a small difference in the materials being used or the way it's being produced, but that doesn't look like it's going to impact the look very much. New Balance claim that this is going to be a more breathable and lightweight upper, which I guess is good, although I never thought that that was a problem with the 1080 V10s. Maybe a little bit more breathability could help those of us living in slightly hotter environments, although it definitely won't be helping me because my toes would just get even colder than they already have been in some of these knitted uppers. Most of the reviews that have already come out for the V11 of this shoe don't really have anything bad to say, and the fit still seems to be the same. The midsole, the outsole, the upper, slightly different, but very similar to the previous versions. It seems like this would be another real home run for New Balance using their great Fresh Foam. So this is why I'm really excited for this shoe. I can't wait to get my hands on it and put it back into the running rotation now I've retired my V10s. And I think if you have enjoyed the 1080 series in the past, I think this might be a really nice point to get in, because hopefully we'll see a pretty good price for a brand new great all-round pair of trainers. And the final shoe on this list is another fan favourite, and that's the Saucony Endorphin Speed, which I also very recently reviewed, which will be up in one of the corners. Again, if you'd like to watch that review, which I can highly recommend, because this shoe is great. It's another fan favourite, similar to the 1080 V10, but with a totally different profile of which workouts you would want to use this shoe for. I do think this is the best tempo and long run shoe that you can get, and the value of this shoe is absolutely phenomenal. Coming in at £150 is superb when you compare it to some of the other offerings from companies such as Nike. I've only had this shoe for a few weeks, and I've already put almost 80 kilometers in a range of tempo and long runs, and I'm absolutely loving every single mile that I run in these shoes. Expect a full review of that shoe soon, so if that would interest you, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. Now, I didn't think this shoe could really be made any better, but it seems like Saucony similarly to New Balance, want to improve the upper of this shoe. So once again, we're seeing the same midsole, the same outsole, which I think are both really good, with a slightly new upper. Some people have complained about lockdown problems in this shoe, although I wouldn't say that's personally been a problem. However, Saucony have listened to those people and are going to be altering the upper of this shoe in both the Speed and the Pro versions of their Endorphin line. I'm more excited for the new version of the Speed than I am the Pro, simply because this shoe can be used for absolutely everything, whereas I find these carbon plated shoes a little bit more difficult to use for a mid-placed long run, and only really applicable for some of the faster work, these tempo runs or your interval sessions. That's why the Speed, I think, is so popular, because it's so versatile. If you are looking for a tempo day shoe and a long run shoe, I can definitely recommend the Speed, and I wouldn't even necessarily wait for this second version. However, if you often have problems with lockdown in some of Saucony's other shoes, maybe hold off and see what the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2 will come with in 2021. Personally, I'm just intrigued to see what they can do with another absolute fan favourite and one of my favourite shoes, if not my favourite shoe of 2020. And so those are the 4 shoes that I'm most looking forward to running in 2021. We started with the Infinity Run Flyknit 2, then we went over to the Next Percent 2, both 2 brand new night shoes to look forward to. We spoke about the brand new 1080 V11, a fan favourite being improved. And then we finished out on the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2, another fan favourite and one of my favourite shoes of 2020. I'd love to hear what shoes you are most looking forward to getting the opportunity to run in 2021. If you disagree with any of my picks or you think I've missed something, please leave it down in the comments below, and if you'd like more triathlon or running shoe videos, then please consider subscribing to the channel. On screen now, you'll see a link to a playlist of my other running shoe videos.